we built a very unique treatment chain for Woodford because it's got such variable flows. Like on a day, I'm sitting here talking to you, there's construction crew on site, there might be 10,000 to 15,000 litres of wastewater produced today, but 27th of December it'll be 1 million litres a day, right? It's a huge variation in flows.
Yeah.
So there are different type of treatment chain that you can build if you've got something which is getting 1 million litres a day.
This is Radio Woodfordia, and I'm your host, Harley Breen. This episode has made me feel silly, except that it's a really big, amazing thing that we're talking about. I'm with Ben Kele. Now, Ben Kele I found him very funny. He's a dag, and I think using the word dag is very important because, you know, the true meaning of the word dag is just like a little bit of poo that's been wrapped up in some sheep's wool, the back of their butt. And I think Ben would enjoy me linking that to this because Ben is the huge part of the fact that Woodford Folk Festival has a genuine world-leading bit of infrastructure here on site, processing all the wastewater. I thought he was a little bit humble about what he does. He was also incredibly knowledgeable, and I learnt a whole lot from him. His shirt, if you're just listening, is worth going to find the video of this because it's full on. The details, the stuff, the things that they do here. This is an incredible story to share around. I'm so grateful that I get the opportunity to be a story farmer for stories just like this. Enjoy, Ben. He loves a gag. We're up and away. How are you?
Good, yourself?
Yeah, good. We were just talking about thrush.
We were.
Do you know, here's the thing. I don't even remember the ad, Ben, from years ago where it was like the scene of a beautiful romantic island and it was like, love and romance. And then it cut and this woman goes, right, now that we've got rid of the guys, let's talk about thrush. Do you remember that TV ad?
I do remember the ad. It was attention getting.
Yeah. Now, for starters, we shouldn't have got rid of the guys because guys get it. I am the father of boys and they've had bull thrush. And because I walked out of that ad, I didn't know what to do.
I think it's something to do with yogurt.
Yeah.
It's mysterious.
It's pretty easy to get your boys to put... Anyway, listen, let's keep it above board. It's great to have you here. A cracking shirt for the listener. You are involved very heavily in water, which we're going to get into, and you have a beautiful shirt.
Jellyfish shirt.
Covered in jellyfish.
Yep.
Yeah. Well done. Dressing to the theme.
Dressing to a theme,
Yeah.
Yes. Well, if you're going to work with shit, you may as well try and get a little bit colourful. If I came here just in brown, you know, it would really lower the tone.
Yes, because specifically, Ben, you work with water, but you work with shit. You work with poo.
Yes.
You
So
treat
we
the
work
poo.
with all types of water, but here at Woodford, during the Folk Festival event, we're treating around 1 million litres of wastewater a day. So it gets fairly chunky.
That's a lot of poo.
It is, and it's mostly black water. If you think about it, there's not an awful lot of washing machines on site. People tend to have quick showers, particularly in the communal shower blocks. We have a bit of a laugh about that. So at Woodford, there's over 60 shower blocks. Some of the older ones are still communal. People in there, 2-minute showers, unless, you know, they're interested in something else. You put a shower door on an amenities block and people are suddenly having 10 or 15-minute long showers.
Right.
Which has... you know, interesting things for our water chemistry. As far as more shower water, it gets diluted. So
it's better to have a longer shower?
It can be, yes, as far as the wastewater treatment's concerned. So on the drinking water plant, the filtration plant, they prefer you to be water efficient. So, because,
Right.
you know...
Because the drinkable water is a finite
Yep,
amount that you can... And you're producing that here or you're capturing that here?
Yeah, so there's a drinking water plant on site. So there's a dam which has got the state forest at the back of the festival site as its catchment area. It's beautiful water, and Woodford treats all of its own drinking water and treats all of its own wastewater. So completely off the grid, it's what's called a decentralised water system.
So there's not one drop of water that gets brought onto site or taken away from site?
We do have what's called the brewer's factor. If you think about the number of bars which are here on site, right? There's
Yes.
a fair amount of alcohol and soft drink and beer, wine,
Sure.
drinking water that comes in. So that doesn't go through the water meter on the drinking water plant, but it all ends up at the sewage treatment plant. And, you know, unless you're having a sly piss behind a tree. So We always
Which
include...
trickle-down effect.
People do, right?
Sure.
Yep. And so we put about a brewer's factor of about 10%. So that hasn't come to us from the drinking water plant. That's actually come in via a keg or via a carton or a slab of water into the festival site.
So they're adding to the mass of water that we have here
That's
on
right.
site.
Yeah, we can tell the difference between a Woodford Folk Festival and, say, an Earth Frequency Festival or Splendour in the Grass, which was here, just looking at the water chemistry. Because you go to Woodford Festival, there's lots of people drinking wine, they're drinking their pale ales and that type of stuff. You go to a Splendour in the Grass or Earth Frequency, they're much more into the spirits, and the water chemistry changes. You get more phosphorus and, it's a whole heap of stuff
And
that
so
we have a
you're
look
testing what's in the water?
We're actually working with the University of Queensland. They've had a long-term study here on site where we look at both the pharmaceuticals, both legal and illegal pharmaceuticals, which are in the wastewater. So yeah, we have a look at the nutrients, the metals, but we also have a look at the drugs which are there. When Splendour in the Grass was here, there was that much cocaine in the water. I thought about drying out a few thousand litres and doing some lines, right? But the Woodford Folk Festival, there's actually less drugs used than what occurs just within Brisbane down there at Luggage Point.
There you go.
Even less marijuana, right? Woodford Folk Festival, there's a lot of blood pressure medication. There's some Prozac, cholesterol drugs. There's Viagra. So there's a lot of old middle-aged blokes who are a bit, mentally disturbed. They're not having the erections of their youth, but they're taking something both for the erections and the mental upset. So it works out overall.
Who's popping a Viagra during the summer at Woodford? Enough people for you to detect it?
Enough people for us to be able to measure it in the wastewater. Yeah.
That is outrageous and excellent news.
You're not putting your hand up for something there, or?
No, the other thing's still going up. I'm fine.
Yeah.
But you're saying that illicit drugs, you don't see that a lot during.
Oh, they're always there, right?
Sure, they're everywhere.
But they're in a really small concentration. So Woodford's an interesting place. The festival gets rented out, so other people are using the infrastructure, and different demographics use it differently. Yeah. So University of Queensland, Dr. Jake O'Brien's in charge of that research. It was part of his PhD project. Woodford's been fantastic in supporting research in a really wide range of areas, but particularly on the water.
What's the purpose of the research, though, to find those sorts of things out?
Well, strangely enough, Jake was originally funded and is still funded to this day by the Australian Federal Police. So
that checks out.
Yeah, they had no idea how well they were going at intersecting drug shipments into Australia, because that's one area where, we import, we don't make our own a lot. But the problem is, if you do a big drug bust, and you'll see it in the news, $200 million worth of cocaine seized, or $100 million worth of meth, or whatever, right? The price of drugs doesn't change, because people who are selling drugs, they're not going to the ACCC, they're not consumer minded. They will cut it with something else and sell it at the same price, right? So the Federal Police were out there intercepting, doing all this stuff. They had no idea, because the price didn't change, so the market didn't move. So what they funded Jake to do was start going around and testing wastewater, because the wastewater doesn't lie, right? So people excrete the drugs, whether it's illegal or legal, your kidneys excrete most of it, right? So you piss it away. So it's there in the wastewater. So they started funding Jake. Jake couldn't get anybody to agree to let him come in, because no data, no problem. But Woodford put its hand up and said that you could come here and test. So Jake did that. After Woodford results were released and it showed that there was less people using illegal drugs at Woodford, a lot of other people lost their hesitation. Okay. So then you've got your municipal water companies and everything who've begun to take up on it.
So are you saying that it started here?
Started here. Started here. So there were other people doing it internationally. There were some studies showing the amount of cocaine which was in the Tiber River in Italy and that type of thing. But Jake wanted to start doing that research here, and Woodford was his first research site. And it's turned out to be the most massive research program in Australia. So now every municipal wastewater treatment plant practically in Australia gets tested every month. All the regional ones get tested every 3 months. On census night, they try and test every wastewater treatment plant in the country. And then they match the census data up to the wastewater data. So if it shows that a particular suburb's got problems with meth, well, they'll actually fund more rehab programs in that suburb,
area,
right? So it's actually it's beautiful, practically applied research which is being used to to help people on the ground, but it's also being used to help the coppers, right? So if they can show that, say, the Port of Melbourne, and you can watch a drug shipment radiate out through the sewers, if they can pick that up,
Wow.
that a big shipment came into the Port of Melbourne, and then another month later another one came in, they'll put more resources there. They'll scan more shipping containers as they come through. They'll actively use the wastewater tracking system to help, target the surveillance program. And what they found out, the federal police thought they were maybe catching 20% at the border, and it's closer to 40%. And now that they're using this data, that number's going up. So, it's supported by both sides of politics.
There you go.
And it's being used to get real public health benefits. So, and it started here.
As somebody who's anti-prohibition, I don't know how I feel about that, but I find the details very interesting.
Yeah, well, they also use it to track alcohol. They use it to track tobacco, and they're using it.
I've seen that recently.
Yeah, they're using it with the quit campaigns and that type of thing. A big part of it's just with safety, right? I'm not prohibitionist myself. You know, I used to run a homeless youth charity had a needle and syringe program. I'm all in for harm minimisation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? So I can see how this program is being used for harm minimisation, and it's also got other benefits. Like Australia was the first country that tested for COVID in its wastewater when the pandemic started. And they basically piggybacked off of Jake's research. Yep.
Wow.
Because Jake had every wastewater treatment plant in Australia set up for pharmaceutical tracking. There's a bloke at CSIRO called Dr. Warish Ahmed. Now, for 20 years, he'd been researching viruses in wastewater and basically having to reapply for his job every year because who was interested in looking at viruses in wastewater? He was told he had a dead-end career. Then COVID came around. Within a week, he had a test for COVID. He knew Jake. Jake opened up the sampling protocol for the pharmaceuticals. So basically, first week in March, Australia started testing for wastewater in its, for COVID in its wastewater, and we led the world. And we still lead the world in that type of thing. So,
That's incredible.
And it all started with a little research project here in Woodford.
And when you say we, it's Woodford. Woodford leads the world. It's also world leading on the wastewater management. Did you kick that off?
Yeah, we designed...
Hold on, I want to ask, Ben, were you into Woodford first, or were you into poo first, to put it that way? Or was it a beautiful bit of synergy where they all came together?
It's probably more Murphy's Law than synergy, right? So my family had a precast concrete factory making septic tanks and all the rest of it, and I'm the youngest son, right? So at one stage there I was working with my grandfather, my old man, my two oldest brothers, and if you've ever worked in a family business as the youngest son, that's not the most enjoyable position to be in, right? Basically, I would find the most horrible job to do on site every day, and I'd do that because that would just make the rest of those miserable bastards happy, right?
Right.
And I get on really well with my family, and we still work together and all the rest of it. But I went to university and did a biology degree saying, there's no way I'm going to end up working with concrete and shit doing a biology degree, right? You know, you've got to do engineering or something like that. And at the end of my biology degree, I got a tap on the shoulder from a professor who said, we've got this funding opportunity for a master's by research, but we need somebody who's got practical experience with septic tanks and on-site wastewater. We've asked around the entire university. You are the only person who's got practical experience in this. And I've gone, I'm going to end up working in the industry that I, took deliberate steps to avoid. And I have. Now, the family's been long-term Woodford patrons.
Okay.
Have been family members at every festival since it's basically moved to Woodford. And it just so happened that in 2009, when Woodford needed a wastewater solution, because it was around 13% of the total carbon emissions were just the trucking of the wastewater off-site.
Just getting it out of here.
And it was hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, but it was also a big insurance risk because it was large trucks leaving the site every 10 to 15 minutes, 24 hours a day. So those truck movements, the insurance company thought there was a high risk of an accident. Only thing that moves water is money, so it was expensive, and there was a lot of carbon emissions associated with it. So needed to get a solution on site, and just was able to come up with a practical solution on site that's worked for the last 16 years.
You were approached to do that, or you brought the idea?
it was a conversation between Amanda Jakes, my brother Andrew, and myself that basically got it going.
So we can do this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so 16 years that's been going.
Yes.
And I've recently had the great pleasure of mowing around this wonderful site. Really enjoy it. It's a great activity and mindfulness, just getting out there and I see the ponds more than I had any idea of everywhere, and that's all part of the system.
Yes.
Right? Yes.
Yep. So waste stabilisation ponds. The big one we call the Bonnie Doon, after the Bonnie Doon in the castle. You can go out and taste the serenity. And going back to your earlier comments on thrush, after the welcoming in the sun dawn ceremony a few years back, we had somebody walk down the hill, strip off and swim across the fully, recently filled waste stabilisation pond. No, we disinfect that water 3 ways to Sunday, right? It's got ozone disinfection, it's got UV disinfection, it's dosed with hydrogen peroxide. It was multiple forms of disinfection. But I reckon if you immerse yourself in it like that and have a big swim around with it 15, 20 minutes, you're just asking for thrush.
Oh, you absolutely are.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
That's going to be not
We checked
good.
the papers. He didn't die.
It could have been the birth of like a Woodford superhero,
It's a very alternate Marvel life timeline in the universe there, but, I'm not surprised it could happen.
But also, now that there's Lake Gula, why?
Yes.
Why
yes.
you got to be in that?
Nah. Yep. He ran into a bunch of Mrs. Keels as he came up out, because it's a big family affair, and we call them Mrs. Keels the judiciary because they're always judging us as far as a collective noun, right? It's not a jury. They wouldn't consider us to be their peers, but they'll judge us all the time. And the different ages is the different levels of the court. So, you got your high court, and then with the eldest, and then it goes down into, state and magistrates and civil courts and all the rest of it. They're a scary bunch of women. And they judged him very harshly as he came up naked. Yep. Including very unfortunate comments that they didn't think the water was that cold.
Great. Well, maybe he was the same guy using the Viagra.
He needed another pill.
You're excellent. How involved is Lake Gula in this whole system? Or is it sits out on its own?
So Patrick Handley from Waterscapes Australia, he designed and built Lake Gula, and we give him a hand. So we do all the water testing. So every day we take multiple water tests from Lake Gula.
Is this every day during the festival?
Yeah. Right. So, and when the festival's not being used, every so often we take one, and we've built up this big database on what's going on within the lake. The lake is often exceeding Australian drinking water standards, right? So it's better water quality than what's required to drink it, right? Which is, interesting for us. We didn't think that the water quality would be that good, and we actually test the lake from the spot where it's the absolute worst water quality. So the pump intake bay before it gets filtered and goes up through the waterfall. So it's the water which has been in the lake the longest.
Yeah,
and we test there. And we grow up microbes on petri dishes in the lab, and we look at all the nutrients and everything every day when the festival's on, and we provide that information back to the Woodford Folk Festival so that they know that daily that the water quality in the lake is safe to swim in.
And the lab's here on site, obviously.
Yeah, we've got it in the sewage treatment plant. Yes.
Yeah, wow. And so you're here full time managing that whole system throughout the year?
Not
obviously
throughout the year,
during the festival.
We're in a ramp-up phase at the moment. We're doing some long-term maintenance, and we get everything right during basically a fortnight. So the week of the festival and 3 or 4 days either side, we're there 24/7 running the treatment plant. Where the festival site's getting used more frequently now, we're down here a bit more often, treating things like earth frequency and the planting festival, which is back on, and these other ones which are coming through.
And the camping, Lake Gula camping.
Lake Gula camping. We give tours of the STP during the camping events. It's a nice small crowd. It's easy enough to manage. So
on a practical level, that whole system you got going on here, is that something that could be the future of the way that we manage water on an individual level in people's houses? I'm just thinking, in terms of the cost to councils, the cost to people at home, the money that I spend on paying my water bill as a renter. Like if we could just capture it in our own properties, keep it in.
Yeah, so things like the bamboo irrigation should be done, right? Australia's got a big shortage of plantation timber. It takes 15 to 20 years to be able to get timber products out of a plantation, you can get paper or timber products out of a bamboo plantation in 5 years, right? So we should be making more toilet paper and photocopy paper and that type of stuff out of bamboo and leaving the timber for more worthwhile, more long-term sustainable products. And bamboo loves growing with recycled water. We built a very unique treatment chain for Woodford because it's got such variable flows. Like on a day, I'm sitting here talking to you, there's construction crew on site, there might be 10,000 to 15,000 litres of wastewater produced today, but 27th of December it'll be 1 million litres a day, right? It's a huge variation in flows.
Yeah.
So there are different type of treatment chain that you can build if you've got something which is getting 1 million litres a day and every day, right?
Yes.
You can bring in a lot of beneficial microorganisms. They treat the water for free. All you've got to do is basically provide them with the food source, which is the feces, which is in the water, get the temperature right and get the right amount of oxygen in there, and they're happy as Larry. We can't do that here at Woodford because to get the right amount of microorganisms, they've got to have the food, right? And in the lead up to the festival, they don't have the food. They grow like all hell when the festival's on, and then they immediately go into another starvation cycle. So we use a lot of physical treatments, chemical treatments, and we don't do the biology to the end, that waste stabilisation pond that I was talking about there with the Bonnie Doon. So where you're looking at the dams as you're riding around on the mower, that's what we're storing, and we irrigate that water across the year. And we've got biology going on in that water. But prior to that, it's been disinfected 3 or 4 times. It's had the ammonia taken out of it with ion exchange. It's had a lot of the personal care products, such as your shampoos and conditioners and your soaps, taken out with the ozone, the hydrogen peroxide and granulated activated carbon. So, we've got a unique treatment system here because festival sites produce wastewater in a unique way.
Yeah, of course. So, why, or did you look at the idea of composting toilets, or is the scale is just too big?
Yeah, so some festival sites use composting toilets, and they can work really well. They tend to work best on festival sites where it's over a weekend, right? The biggest drama with composting toilets on a site like Woodford is if you think that where it's running for the week, where you get doors open and shut and all the rest of it, flies love to get in there and lay their larvae. Composting toilets work best when they're screened and you're keeping those type of insects out. At a place like Woodford, that week or the 10 days, which everybody's here, is just long enough that you'll go through a hatching cycle, and that could get unpleasant, right?
Yeah.
Weekend's great, a week not so much, because the doors would just open so frequently with people coming in and using them, you'd never be able to keep it out. And Queensland summer is a little bit unforgiving as far as that type of compost and the flies are concerned. But if you're down in Tasmania and it's over a weekend, or in the Highlands of Victoria and it's over a weekend, composting toilets can be a fantastic solution. So part of what we always look for is a fit-for-purpose solution for what we're doing.
Yeah, of course, because in the general population, it's absolutely outrageous that we have flushing toilets. Right?
It uses an awful lot of water.
Ridiculous, but here, you need to have that because it's actually feeding the system as the water's keeping it all going.
Yep. Yeah, there's, I think we're heading north of 50 kilometres of sewers through the festival precinct now.
Really?
So, and you need flush to get that moving.
Right. So you've had to dig up the land, lay all that internal
It's been done
system
since
down.
the very first festival was when the first sewers started to go in.
Wow. What an infrastructure.
Yes.
I think a lot of people, don't see what's beneath our feet in general day anyway, but to know that you guys have put together a genuinely world-leading system right on this
That's
side.
Joel and the plumbing crew who do the majority of the sewer work. And, occasionally there's blockages and Joel has to work with a pump-out truck operator bloke by the name of Smiley Pete. So Joel and Smiley, they get there and they clear out a blockage because people flush interesting things, right? Yeah. Yep, you've got to smile, right? But people flush bottles and clothes and various things, and they get lodged, and they've got to clean that out. And they ring me up and they tell me about what a horrible day they're having, and I go, well, that's really sad, but till it gets to the sewage treatment plant, it's not exactly my problem. So,
Oh,
I
and
offer-
shout out to the plumbers, mate. They're doing the Lord's work.
Yeah, the S-Bend Warriors
Yeah.
here at the Woodford site and
Yes.
and the Woodford crowd's a great crowd, right? They keep things clean, they pick things up, they tend not to flush stuff that they're not supposed to. But, an average day is 1 million litres a day, a busy day is 1.5 million litres a day. You just can't flush that volume without an occasional,
Something dropping in there.
an incident, yes.
Now, you said before that during the festival, it's 24/7. You guys are monitoring everything.
Yes.
Do you get a chance to get out into the festival?
I do, yeah.
Right.
And I've got my wife and 4 kids down and the extended families down, and we've got a crew which are long-term Woodford patrons type of thing. We've always got a bunch of researchers with us. So I do get over there. I don't get over there as much as I used to when I was just a patron and I wasn't sitting back, rocking backwards and forwards, looking at a sewage treatment plant, hoping nothing goes wrong as 1 million litres of shite comes through, right? So I have a different appreciation to the festival now. But I'm mainly doing the night shift from about 6 o'clock in the afternoon till midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. And
You're in there.
then they kick me out of bed and I do another 4 or 5 hours. So, but my brother Andrew does some. Tony, who's our technician, he's a night owl. He likes to do from, basically midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning through to when Andrew gets up. So we've got this unofficial roster, which is actually a roster that, and if somebody really wants to go see something, we just make it happen.
Sub in, sub out. Okay. Well, because I'm sad for you for that. I'm really grateful for the work you do. I'm inspired by. I'm in awe of that. What you've built here, it's incredible.
My kids think that Santa Claus only delivers to sewage treatment plants. I'm quite happy sitting there. It's all good. Yeah.
Where do you go? What's your spot then? When you get into the festival, where do you go? What's the
I am fond of a Byron Bay donut.
Yeah,
And love me a bit of German sausage with some sauerkraut on it. And I don't mind the blues. I don't mind traditional folk. Always in for a bit of comedy.
Great.
So
we'll see you there.
Yeah. I do try to maintain a bit of a sense of humour. So
it oozes out of you, Ben.
Yeah.
I've got it.
That's where I tend to wander. So
Great.
Yeah.
Well,
And street theatre's always good,
you
sit
can't
back
avoid
and
it.
have a look.
It's everywhere. It's great. Well, I really appreciate all that information you just shared with me. That is incredible. As I said, it's awe-inspiring.
You're right.
Good on you.
We're very happy to do it. We love the Woodford Folk Festival.
Well, you're a legend. I'll come around one day and have a look at the whole system.
We will give you
I
a
won't
tour.
stay long.
Yeah. You're right. Hey, some parts of us are air-conditioned. That doesn't happen everywhere in the site.
I'll see you in the middle of the day during the festival.
See me in the middle of the day. We had Professor Lawrence Gill and his family come out from Trinity College, Dublin, last festival.
Wow.
And it was 4 degrees when they left Dublin, and it was the hottest day in southeast Queensland when they arrived. The ozone treatment container that we've got, it's got its own air conditioner. It's got to be kept cool. In the middle of the day, we just had to shove them in there with some seats because the poor Irish darlings had just about died, right? We had ice and water packs and cool things to put around them. But, Lawrence has taken what we're doing here back over to Europe and talked about, because Europe's got plenty of festival sites over there, and is talking about the way that Woodford manages its water. So we're really big on doing that research and getting the knowledge out there.
That's incredible. So through all of this, you're getting the message of the way that you've built the system out there, but also the story of this fantastic festival.
So NARA, which is the American On-Site Wastewater Association, the National On-Site Water Recycling Association, they had Woodford as the cover story on their magazine last year, as far as the leading example on how to do decentralised wastewater at festival sites. Because, there's plenty of big festivals over in the US, but they do it all with porta potties rather than what we're doing here. And a porta potty in a festival can, that's what they
can go bad.
It can go bad. Yeah. A lot of people have sex in them. I don't understand why.
Come on.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Well, when Splendor in the Grass was here,
self-respect.
they flushed a lot of clothes in the porta potties. And my poor brother Andrew, who I've mentioned a few times during this, we had a brand new pump station put in just down near the office building. $30,000 grinding pumps in there, top of the line, not supposed to have anything go wrong. Halfway through Splendor in the Grass, something went wrong. And I sent Andrew down there to find out what had gone wrong. somebody had flushed a full-length flannel dressing gown.
Oh, don't.
Right?
What's
And it had got wrapped up in bra straps, and there was hockey straps and gaffer
Oh.
tape and everything in there. And it doesn't matter how good your pump is,
No.
if it sucks up a full-length flannel dressing gown wrapped up in bras. And I thought bras were expensive. You know, he pulled out a dozen. Why would you flush a dozen bras, right?
What a wild route.
Yeah, it's on the wrong side of wrong, right?
Yeah.
But as he's clearing that out, and, you know, there's 100 metres ahead on that line, the VIP entrance for Splendour in the Grass was there.
Hello.
And as he's pulled it out, the police escort comes through and the stretch limousine and Coldplay's entering in.
Right.
And he's got it out, and about 10,000 litres of the greenest, most evilest shite that you can ever imagine has come out of this pipe, and it's just hit him, right? As I mentioned there at the start, any splash you don't taste is a good splash. He very much tasted that splash. That splash went into the bone, right? And yeah, Chris Martin, lead singer of Coldplay, winds the window down at on the limousine just to look at my brother Andrew, the bog monster, get covered in this green wall of shite.
If only it was yellow. That'd be perfect.
Yeah, we have made that joke over the years. But yeah, we had to water blast him down, clean him off. And I had backstage passes for that. And I felt so guilty and bad about what he got covered in. I gave my backstage pass so that he was up on stage left with Coldplay on that gig. And in my heart of hearts, I've always wanted to know whether Chris Martin looked to the left and actually saw my brother, the bog monster, up there on the stage with him. But yeah, people flush wonderful things and do, surprising things in porta potties.
Well, Ben, I reckon you could talk shit all day.
I can talk shit all day.
But I've got to go to the toilet.
You've got to go.
Yeah.
You've got to go send work my way.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's as if you don't care that I've got feelings.
I'm going to do it on the tree. I don't want you to know what I've been doing.
Toilet's broken.
I'm doing it on the tree then. Yeah. Hey, while you're here, the toilet's broken.
Yeah? I'll call Joel.
Thanks, Ben.
No worries. Thank you.
There you go. Super educated. Doesn't mind a poo joke. We are kindred spirits. And what an incredible thing. What an incredible thing that happens here. And if you've been to this site for the Folk Festival and you didn't know that, I imagine it blew your mind. If you're seeing this or listening to this and you've never been, well, what an incredible part of the story of this wonderful land that we're on, which of course is Jinnaburra country. And it was produced by the people at Woodfordia Inc. We're getting those stories out there into the world. You can help with that by telling your friends and sharing episodes around and liking it and subscribing it and leaving comments. It all helps. And thank you so much to the wonderful East Pointers for giving us your music. I'm your host, Harley Breen. I've enjoyed it as always. I can't wait to see you on the next one. Thank you. Bye.
Is Radio Woodfordia.